Welcome back to the series, everyone. I'm your friendly cybersecurity mentor, and I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through today's explainer on ethics. Now, look, I know exactly what you're probably thinking right now. Ethics? Come on, that's the easy stuff, right? Just do the right thing and move on. Well, let me tell you a little secret. This topic is actually one of the biggest, sneakiest traps on the entire CISSP exam. It literally trips up countless, highly experienced professionals. Why? Because the exam isn't just testing your general moral compass. No, it's testing your ability to apply a very specific, strict, hierarchical framework to some seriously complex business decisions. So, we're going to kick things off today by setting the stakes with a massive real-world dilemma. Picture this. Your systems are completely locked up, the entire business is at a dead standstill, and the clock is loudly ticking. Would you pay $1 million ransom to save your company? Ethics in our field, it's not just about common sense or, vague philosophical ideals. It is about making incredibly tough, legally defensible decisions when your back is absolutely pushed against the wall. So today, we're going to look at exactly how to handle high-pressure situations just like this using the required CISSP mindset. All right, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We've got 1. Defining ethics, 2. The ISC squared code, 3. Manager dilemmas, 4. Exam strategy, and finally, 5. Recap and tips. Let's get moving. Starting off with Section 1, Defining ethics. According to our source material, ethics are defined as the moral codes and rules of personal behavior that guide our day-to-day activities. But why is this so absolutely critical in cybersecurity specifically? Well, it's because as security professionals, we hold incredibly sensitive positions of immense trust. We literally hold the keys to the kingdom. We can see the raw data, the hidden vulnerabilities, the private internal communications. Strict adherence to these moral codes is what ensures that this massive, unchecked power is never abused or compromised. Without a rock-solid code of personal behavior, our entire industry would basically lose public trust overnight. Moving right along to Section 2, the ISC squared Code of Ethics. As a CISSP candidate, you actually have to legally agree to adhere to the ISC squared Code of Ethics, and this code is built on 4 fundamental canons. Number 1, protect society, the common good, necessary public trust and confidence, and the infrastructure. Number 2, act honorably, honestly, justly, responsibly, and legally. Number 3, provide diligent and competent service to principals, which, by the way, basically just means your employer or your clients. And number 4, advance and protect the profession. Now listen up, because here is the most crucial takeaway. These canons are strictly hierarchical. That means Canon 1 always overrules Canon 2. Canon 2 overrules 3, and so on. So for example, if your boss, your principal, asks you to do something illegal, well, Canon 2 overrides Canon 3. You absolutely cannot break the law just to serve your employer. Section 3, Manager Dilemmas. To truly understand how this hierarchy works in practice, we need to step out of the textbook for a minute and apply these canons to the real world. Imagine you're the security manager and your CEO is screaming this exact quote at you during a massive ransomware attack. Pay the $1.1 million ransom. We need our data back online now. And hey, this isn't science fiction. According to recent data from our sources, 27%, so roughly 1 in 4 affected organizations, actually chose to pay the ransom to recover their data, shelling out an average of $1.1 million. Your CEO desperately wants to be part of that 27% to save the business. So what do? Well, there's a really stark contrast in thinking here. The immediate technical choice might seem completely obvious, right? Just pay the ransom, grab the decryption key, and restore the data. Boom, problem solved. But the ethical and managerial choice is way more complex. The U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, or OFAC, has actually issued advisories stating that facilitating ransomware payments to cyber actors might violate economic sanctions, meaning it could literally be illegal. Because of that, under Canon 2, which, remember, requires you to act legally, you must advise leadership against making that payment and immediately consult legal counsel. Your absolute duty to act legally completely overrules your duty to just get the company's servers back online. And that brings us brilliantly to our second scenario. Let's say you're just poking around your network one day and you happen to discover a massive, previously unknown flaw, a 0-day vulnerability, in a third-party vendor's software that your company actively uses. Do you go post it on Twitter to show off your skills? Do you use it to hack the vendor? No, definitely not. The principle of ethical disclosure dictates a very specific path here. First, you verify it privately. Then, you responsibly report it to the vendor. Next, you give them adequate time to develop a patch to protect their customers before you ever go public with it. And meanwhile, you implement compensating controls to protect your own systems. By doing this, you are prioritizing protecting society and the infrastructure, which is Canon 1, way above your own ego. Section 4, Exam Strategy. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about how the actual CISSP exam is going to use these exact concepts to try and trick you. Without a doubt, the absolute biggest trap candidates fall into is thinking like a technician instead of a security manager. The exam writers, they already know you're probably a brilliant technical expert. But remember, the CISSP is a management exam. A technician sees an open port on a firewall and just blocks it. A manager, on the other hand, stops and asks, wait, why is this port open? What's the actual policy here? How does this impact our business process? And hey, is there a safety concern? On the exam, whenever you're faced with a scenario, always look for the answer that aligns with policy, human safety, and ethical governance way before you reach for that technical quick fix. Okay, here is a golden rule derived directly from the exam objectives and RFC 1087, which is the document governing ethics on the internet. Major trap alert here, never ever hack back. If you detect an active intruder in your network, your first gut instinct might be to launch a counterstrike, or maybe attempt to reverse hack them to delete your stolen data. Do not do it. It is highly unethical, it is almost always illegal, and honestly, you could inadvertently attack some totally innocent third party whose system was just hijacked by the real attacker. Instead, your ethical duty is to secure your environment, stop the bleeding, and rely strictly on your audit logs and intrusion detection systems for evidence that you can hand straight over to law enforcement. All right, final stop, Section 5, Recap and Tips. Let's lock in some specific memory tricks so you can recall all of this instantly on test day. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this slide right now. I highly recommend using the acronym PAPA to remember the exact hierarchical order of the 4 canons. P stands for Protect Society. A stands for Act honorably and legally. The second P stands for Provide diligent service to your employer. And the final A stands for Advance the profession. If you literally just write PAPA on your scratch pad the second you sit down for the exam, I promise you will never get a hierarchy question wrong. So, just to do a quick recap of everything we've covered today, always remember that ethics in our field are there to prevent the abuse of the immense trust placed in us. The ISC squared canons are strictly hierarchical. Canon 1 always wins out over the others. When you read an exam question, take a deep breath, step back, and consciously put on your manager hat instead of your technician hat. And finally, no matter how incredibly tempting it might be in the moment, never hack back. If you keep these core principles at the very front of your mind, you're going to easily navigate all those tricky ethics questions that stumble up so many other candidates. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to really ponder as you continue your studies. If Canon 1, protecting society, and Canon 3, providing service to your employer, ever come into direct conflict, who are you truly protecting when you make your final choice? Think deeply about the long-term impact on your own career, your organization's reputation, and ultimately, the public trust. Remember to trust your training, keep that high-level manager mindset totally focused, and I will see you in the next explainer.